Hello and welcome to my experiment. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to be having a go at dyeing rice. Rice is a really lovely thing to add to any sort of sensory box. Of course it can be used as it is naturally. However, when it's dyed and beautiful and colourful, it fits really nicely with activities and it can make it really inviting for little hands to touch. So for a long time I have dyed my rice with Sugar Flare, which is a paste food colouring that I get on Amazon. However, I'm seeing more and more people using poster paint, so I thought let's put it to the test. I'm using this ready mix poster paint from Hobbycraft. You get in a big set of 10. I am going to be comparing it with the Sugar Flare paste food colouring, and I'm also going to try one of these supermarket and pound shop liquid food colouring and see which gives us the best results, the quickest results and the easiest with no stained fingers. So join me. Okay, so first of all, this is everything that I've got ready. I have 3 bags of rice, a nice good size. I've got roasting tins. Normally I would just use any old baking tray with maybe some greaseproof paper on the bottom, but I thought, seeing as I'm doing a proper video and all that, that I would treat myself to some new roasting tins. I've also going to use some Ziploc bags. That's the way that I've always done it. Put it in and give it a good shake. And then these are what we're using today that we're going to be testing. So we have got poster paint. This is bought from a large set from Hobbycraft, so suitable for young children. We've also got this food colouring that you can get in lots of supermarkets, pound shops and things, and it's the liquid form of food colouring. As you can see, they're all going to be yellow. Seeing as we've got Easter coming up and spring, I thought it was going to be a colour that we're going to use a lot of. Now this is also going to be tested, Sugar Flare, and this is food colouring paste. Now this is the one that I've always used and sworn by, so I'm going to be really keen to see whether I will give up my beloved Sugar Flare to go for the poster paint instead. So let's see, shall we? Okay, so the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to pour out this rice into one of these bags. We've got a good amount in there, nice big Ziploc bags. These are from the Co-op. I must admit, I usually use the IKEA ones. I find them much stronger, particularly when doing things like this, because I'm scared that these might burst open. They're quite flimsy. I do find the IKEA ones much better, and I like to reuse them as well. And then I'm going to put a dollop of whichever we are testing in with it, give it a good shake, and then we're going to pour it out on the baking tray and leave it to dry. As you can see, I've dyed the rice and I've laid it all out and remembered to label it as well. So first of all, I did the poster paint. These still aren't dry. And then I did the liquid food colouring, and then I did the paste food colouring. So in terms of actually looking at it now, it was quite sticky. I don't know whether I maybe used a little bit too much poster paint in that one. It's quite sticky when I poured it out, so it may take a little bit longer. I must admit, I didn't expect the colour to take so well, but look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous, really vibrant, looks really great. Then the food colouring, nice and easy again. Poured it straight in. It poured out much easier than the first one. Poured out fine, not quite as vibrant, but still a lovely yellow. This is just in natural daylight. And then finally I did the paste food colouring, which has always been my favourite. Must admit, wow, it looks like a load of egg fried rice, doesn't it? This one, not quite as vibrant, as you can see. And also, you can see already, it took me, I did twice the amount of shaking and rubbing, trying to get a good, smooth colour consistency. Still wasn't as easy as those. And also, you can see there are still lumps of paste when I've poured it out as well, which of course then I'd have to get rid of those before giving it to a child to play with. Okay, so now those have been poured out, I'm going to leave them on the side. I normally let the rice dry overnight. just to make sure it's really, really dry. What I'm going to do is lunchtime now, so I'm going to leave it out for the rest of the day. I'll come back this evening and check, see how they're doing, maybe give them a little bit of stir to get all the surface so they can all dry through. And then we'll check them in the morning and see how they're doing. Really pleased with all of them right now. They do all look a really lovely colour. But yeah, so I guess now is a waiting game. So let's have a cuppa, shall we? Okay guys, so welcome back. This is the next day of our dyeing the rice experiment that I've been running. The rice has been left to dry overnight, so normally that would be enough time. I did check it yesterday in the evening, so it had been drying for about 6 hours, and it was quite clear which ones were dry and which ones weren't. And then I've come back and checked them this morning. So now I'm going to talk through what I've noticed, what I've found, and then of course we will be choosing the winner. I know, it's very exciting. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you can see here that I've got the 3 different rice that I did yesterday. First of all, I did this one with the poster paint. Then I did the liquid food colouring, and then I did the paste food colouring. So yesterday evening when I went to check after, I think it was about 5 or 6 hours to see which one had dried. The poster paint one, which surprisingly, it was a bit crusty, as though it had dried and it was all stuck together, but I just used a little wooden spoon and quickly loosened it, and it looked like it was thoroughly dried out. So that was well done for the poster paint one. The paste food colouring, that was completely dried out. However, it's worth noting that I mentioned for the when I did it yesterday, that there are some lumps of food colouring. So they obviously haven't dried out and probably won't dry out, so they would need removing. So the majority of it was dry, but you would need to pick out these lumps that were left. The liquid colouring one wasn't dry, it was really, really wet. So that definitely needed overnight. So then coming back to it this morning, the poster paint is completely dry, that is fine. I put my hands through it, that's no problem. The paste food colouring, again, is fine and dry, but of course we would need to take those out. I have squashed some of them and they are wet and they would stain little fingers. The liquid colouring one is still damp. It's still not completely dry. It's not putting any colour on my hand, oh, a little bit actually. It is, I think because it's yellow, it's hard to see. It is putting a little bit of colour on my hands. It's sticking to my hands as well. And it has also dyed my wooden spoon. I keep mixing it. But it is still wet, so it's still gonna need a lot of time to dry. The ones at the edges I can see have pretty much dried out. But yeah, it's still not completely dry. So I do wonder, maybe you wouldn't need a full bottle, but to get the vibrant colour, you're gonna need quite a lot. So that is gonna still take quite a lot of drying, that one. Okay, in terms of easiest to actually mix and make yesterday, I felt that the poster paint one was nice and quick, vibrant straight away, good consistent, it really covered. And I found the same with the liquid colouring one as well. However, you saw me that it took me a lot longer to mix the paste one. I was really having to rub it in, and as you can see, there are still some lumps. Then I said that I was also going to do the touch test, so they were all fine apart from the liquid one. I imagine once it's dry, the bits at the edge are okay and not coming off on my fingers. It's still the wet ones in the middle. And so again, if you miss those lumps, they would stain fingers, but the rest of it isn't leaving any marks whatsoever. And the poster paint certainly isn't. No, definitely not. Okay, so that's my findings so far. In terms of the colour, the poster paint is a really nice vibrant yellow, really gorgeous, very inviting. The liquid colouring has actually got a really nice vibrant colour, really inviting yellow, very spring-like, really lovely. The paste colouring, I did expect it to be much darker and much brighter yellow, and I actually put in quite a lot in there. So yeah, that's worth noting. It's not as bright as the other two, which is quite obvious on the picture. So you can see there's quite a difference there. And then the final thing to say is about tasting. Now, if your little one is still at the stage where they're going to be putting the rice in the mouth, the food colouring ones would be safe. However, the poster paint wouldn't. So that's just something to consider if your child is younger and still tasting the food. That these two would be safe for a child to taste, not to eat loads of, but to taste if they were to put a little bit in their mouth. However, obviously I don't encourage little ones to be eating paint covered rice. Okay, so do you want to know my conclusion and what the results are? I bet you do. Guys, so the results are in. You may have guessed from the test already, but I just thought I'd share this with you. We're going to do a little presentation ceremony. So in third place, I'm actually going to put the liquid colour in, just because it's taken so long for it to dry. And in this day and age, we haven't got all day to be waiting for our rice to dry if we're wanting to do activities with little ones, now are we? We want something nice, quick and easy. The colour is lovely. I must say it's only £1 for the bottle in pound shops and supermarkets, so for convenience of getting hold of it, it's quite handy, but it's just taken too long to dry. So I'm going to put that in third place. Okay, and then second place, I'm surprised at this. I didn't think I would be converted. I'm actually going to give second place to the paste food colouring. The reason why I've chosen this one over that one is just that the colour is consistent. It's not quite as bright as the other one, but it is still yellow. It's not showing up quite as much on camera. You're just going to have to pick out the lumps, and it did take a little bit longer for you to rub it together. However, I am a big fan of these food colouring, the paste food colouring. I've been using them a long time, and a little goes quite a long way. So you can get them on Amazon, so again, pretty easy to get hold of, or any catering shops and things. But it is a nice colour. It's just a shame about the lumps, and it's a shame it took so long. So, in first place, I am going to be awarding it to the poster paint. I must admit, I am shocked. I did not think I would be converted. I thought it was super duper easy. Took me minutes, if that, to mix it, to have it poured out and to have it drying. And then the fact that it was dried within hours was brilliant. And I'd love to see actually how long it took. It's a whole bag of rice, there was a lot there, and I also put quite a lot of paint in as well, so it's a really bright colour, but it's lovely. One thing to bear in mind, I have said this already, this is not suitable for any children that are still tasting. I would go for the paste colouring, food colouring, if you have a little one that is still tasting, and that would be my first choice for babies and young children. But overall, ease for activities for older children that won't be tasting. If you're wanting to make a brightly coloured sensory box with some rice, pasta, anything like that, I would now be converted and go for the poster paint. This poster paint was bought from Hobbycraft in a great big set with lots of different colours. So yeah, now I'm off to go and dye loads and loads of rainbow rice. I hope that helps you guys. Thank you very much.